This is a Dirshu Mishnah Bura as we continue learning Halves Netilas Yadaim. We're in the middle of Siman Kuf Samoch Abeis up to Sif Gimel. Says the Mechaber, Natal Mixas Yadai. If someone washes part of his hand, v'chazar, and then he goes v'hoisif, and he adds on v'natal anishar miyadai, and then he washes the rest. Hare yadai tamei k'maisha isa. His hand is still tamei, and this is perhaps one of the more common cases. You see someone that's washing, and they only wash half their hands. Oh, whoops! And they go and they pour water on the other half. Says the Mechaber, you did nothing. Your hand is still tamei. Why? There's no such thing as washing in halves. But if on the first part that you wash there still is if the first part that you wash still is wet to the degree that it can make something else wet, that will be moist to make something wet, tefeach, it is wet, to make something else wet, then what's the halacha? Continues the Mechaber, Hare, looking for the next page, Zu Tahira. Then the subsequent washing will work. Concludes Sif Gimel B'medvar Ma'amurim B'mayim Rishonim. This is particularly the first washing. Aval B'shniyim, the second, Notal Mixas Yadai V'chazir Moisal Mixasan. The second one is not a problem doing it in halves. So comes along the Mishnah Bura over here, and let's understand this very important halacha of washing in parts. Mixas yadai sivkatul chavhei shebepam achas, that one time lo yigia mayim ala perek, you didn't have one washing that reached all the way to the wrist. Shushir netila, which is the amount that needs to be washed. Kimavor b'simikov samachalif sifdalid ayin sham. And you come to complete it. Already from the first washing, it's a little bit dry, and now you go to wash again. And the first part is not wet enough. In that scenario, you wash the remainder. If when you add on, you get the whole hand, then shapradami, then that is going to be fine. And the Shartzian over here in Sifkat Chavbeis points out that even the Rosh and the Rash of Safklub is that they're not sure. So everyone would say a big sigh of relief. Okay, the second time you wash, you pour enough to wash the whole hand, and everything is good. Says the Shartzian, not so simple. Because the Rambam Shitli Pasuk Mechaber L'Kud Lo Tzarech L'Nagim Mitchila, the Mechaber Pasuk you don't have to give much Beiseis because of my Mordechai. But Lamaisa there are those that disagree. And so therefore the hand is Tamei K'moi Shaisis Sivkatul Chav Zayin Tzarech Lito Mechadash Al Kol Yad. You got to wash again. Kedin Netila Vein Tzarech L'Nagim Mitchila. You don't have to dry your hands. Why? Netila Chatzayin Sivkatul Chav Chaz or Tzolayim Dein Derech Netila B'Kach. However, if the first part of your hand is wet enough, Toifeach Amanas Latfiach, which means there's enough water on it. That which touches that part of the hand, will become wet. So the Mishnah Bura over here gave a very precise definition. Does not just mean, again, I wash half my hand. Doesn't mean there's a little bit of moisture that if something else touches it, it gets wet. That is not teifeach hamanas latfiach. That's just teifeach. Says the Mishnah Bura, teifeach hamanas latfiach is that when you touch it, the item that touches it gets wet enough to wet something else. So if my hand is A and I touch it with something else is B, it has to be wet enough to get C wet as well. Then if it's wet enough, we see the original til did not finish and it combines the have kinetila achas. But if it is that wet, then it does combine. And then Arezu Tires have got the Lamed issue Achodesh Shekos for the sum that write the Davkiv the Eved Ein Sar Lachs of Elito. Only with the Eved you do not have to rewash. But lechatchila sarlita vasachas got to wash everything at once. Kolayat V'lav dafka b'shvicha achas doesn't necessarily mean one pour. Ella afilu b'shtei shvichas, even with two. Kol shalai yishai b'intayin kal, if there's no break in the middle, k'shvicha achas dami. If you do, two quick pours, says the Mishnah Berurah, that's called one pour. V'alkeinim not only me'ad ha'antifas. Al yada yatzina shekarin krana handle. Shaber tzar v'tzarach lepaschol asago b'chol shvicha. Get open and close it. Shvicha de'sheva amayim mikayach gavra, so that the water comes out with your force. K'el b'sim kuf n'tesif tes. Mikol makam ad al yedei ziman kater, because that little break in the middle loy mikri hefsek. And we remind us, this is not talking about our sinks. Our sinks do not have a din of a kli. This is talking more about, let's say, a water pitcher or the like, that it is itself a kli. Then you could wash by opening and closing the spout. If there's another kli, it's better not to use this item. The second water, even if part of your hand dried, when it comes to the second washing, the gamri yuchal al mix the sayad sheni. Tilu amayim inam bayim la'etzem anatila shel yadayim. Didn't go with your hand. Because the second washing, why are you doing the second washing? The second washing is really only coming to get rid of the tummy waters from the first washing, and therefore says Mishmur we could be more lenient. To finish up over here, we're going to take Sif Gimel by itself. Comes along the Dirshu number 3, and it points out, originally the Mishnah wrote that Netilas kosher b'shtei fichos, if you didn't wait. Shartzi adds on, Shazad like Mashlik Sas is now like Magen Avram, that's Machmir. Shartzi continues and he says that if you waited a drop, then you could be Meikol. And therefore adds on the Shartzi. And that's not like the Bach. The Bach is Machmir in all cases. Pierre Dvar Val Bachkos Val Yerabba says Val Yerabba Shavdivri Magen Avram Mashba Shishlach Rav Leif Klal. Magen Avram is a machmer in all cases, even if you just do two quick pourings in complete succession, there's no hefsek at all. Says the Magen Avram, if it did not come mamish at one time, then you have to be machmer. Koshalta Mikli Shapiv Tsar Kebakbuk. If you have a very narrow opening, if you have to squeeze it out two times, even in that scenario where there's no break at all, says the Magen Avram, you have to be machmer, because you have to make sure the water moves around to your whole hand. It adds on the Eli Rabbi, the Magen Avram is only according to the Bach, but we don't pass in this way, and therefore one would be allowed to be meikol. Al shvicha lo yafse klal. Mishabura is being seisim lekula, and he adds on in the Sharatzia and ef shel lekuluach echad egia mayim lechol makuv shesarach l'tila. Either way, with one little stream, it's not going to reach your whole hand, and therefore you're going to have to pour two times. It has to be two very quick pourings in complete succession, and we'll pick it up from Sifdala next year. B'siyata Dishmayo.